friend, let's take these pieces that I found while out thrifting recently and give them a little makeover. Let's get started. Recently, I did some thrift shopping in Williamsburg, Virginia while visiting one of our daughters. I found this Norman Rockwell print that I knew my husband would love. These glass wall sconces, and here are some oval frames. Now, a couple of these I already had on hand, but I have a plan for them. I also found a lot of silver pieces. That bowl I already had, but I found this silver plate platter and a couple of other silver pieces like this dish. I have a plan for these. And of course, I found some brass candlesticks. This was a set of 3 for $5.99. One was missing, so I got these 2 for only $3. And speaking of $3, that cute little pitcher and a stack of ironstone plates. I also found that cute little silver cup, and I think one of you told me that it was probably a little cup that was made for a christening, like, or a baptism or something. The name Scott is on the front. I checked it after that last video, and sure enough, I think this is for a little one. If you know who Scott is, and if he's missing his cup, just let me know. I think I might have it. Anyway, I grabbed this cleaner that I love to use on all sorts of metal. It's called Earth Bright. It works on copper, silver, stainless steel, my sink, and it works on these silver plated pieces that you see here. It comes with like a little Scrub Daddy tool, and you just rub on the paste and it cleans the silver so pretty. Now you see all that gray, that's all the tarnish coming off. This is not harsh on your hands like so many other metal cleaners are. There's one that I love to use, Barkeeper's Friend. I love it, but it really tears up your skin. This stuff does not. I'm going to have it linked below. You need it if you like to polish any kind of metal, including silver plate, real silver, stainless steel, copper, all the metals, brass, all the metals, you need this. After giving the pieces a good clean with it, just rinse it in hot water along with that scrubby, and it will completely take all the tarnish away. Now I'm going to work on these brass candlesticks, and the first step is to remove the wax. So I just used some boiling water and I poured it right over top to get rid of the wax. Be careful, that water can be hot. Then I used the same Earth Bright cleaner and I just gave these a real good polishing all over. They were pretty tarnished. They needed some help, and it wasn't the pretty tarnish, so I wanted to get rid of it. Now on that base, I needed to lift it up. So you can see here I put my cloth down on my counter so that I didn't work the cleaner into my granite. I didn't want to do that. Then I also had to grab a little piece of 4/0 steel wool to work on some of the tougher spots, and I managed to get those mostly gone, not perfectly. I went back over it with the Earth Bright polish and even scraped off a little bit of the surface. There, you see that. Anyway, they cleaned up great. And then to clean the cloth, you just pour hot water right over top. You're going to notice that I jump back and forth between projects. That is just how my mind works. Let me know down in the comments, do you jump back and forth between projects like I do? Or do you start to finish complete one project before moving on to the next? For this Norman Rockwell print, I needed to clean that glass and do some other things to it, so I have to take it apart first. I use these spring-loaded needle nose pliers to pull out the little nails, and I'm saving those. I'm going to reuse them as well as that cardboard. Now this was fun. I saw a little information on the back of the print. The print is from 1958, and it has a little bit of information about Norman Rockwell and this particular painting. Now this painting, it's a print, but it has special meaning because my husband was a police officer for 28 years and I knew that he would love this print. I actually bought it for Father's Day and he did get it. It was a little bit late, but he did get it and we're enjoying it now. I can't wait to show you the finish. To clean the glass, you may or may not know this, but you can use 4/0 steel wool to polish glass. It is unbelievable how easy it is to do this. So I did wind up laying down a cloth just to give a little cushion between the glass and the wood surface that I was working on. And then I take that 4/0 steel wool and I feel it with my hands to make sure I'm getting it nice and clean. Now be careful around the edges of that glass when you're working with that steel wool. It's very easy to slice through your finger. Ask me how I know. Anyway, that edge is where a lot of the gunk is going to accumulate, because you can imagine somebody cleaning this frame and it would just push all the grime as they were wiping it off, say with Windex and a paper towel. It would just push all that grime up to the edge of where the frame met. So it's important to take the glass out and really give it a good cleaning. Now, once you've gotten it all clean with the steel wool, you can run over it with some Windex and a paper towel, and you're going to be amazed at how good the glass looks. So let's clean this frame before I paint it. I just wiped it down with a soapy microfiber cloth and got off all the yuck of years and years. And then I grabbed my caviar black paint from Dixie Belle and I gave it a coat of paint all over. I think I only needed one coat of paint on this. I might have added two. I have an extra little look that I'm going to do to this. Now, for the print, it came with a great mat, but that mat is pretty dingy, so I decided to paint it in a color that would coordinate with the background of the print. And I found this color in my stash. By the way, I'm going to have all of the paint supplies that I'm using, including that paintbrush, linked down below, so that if you need these colors or these supplies, you'll be able to just grab and go. The color I'm using here on this mat is Fluff. This is a chalk paint, and you can paint anything with chalk paint. It's unbelievable. So this mat, it did not warp it. It did not distort it in any kind of way. It just made it look absolutely fresh. Then to clean my brushes, you guys know I love this scrubby soap so much. It is the easiest way to clean a paintbrush. All you do is rinse the brush pretty well, scrub it over that little scrubby pad, and then set it up to dry like that so all the water runs down, let it dry, and your paintbrush is ready to go. Now all that those silver pieces are clean, I'm going to assemble these and make one unit out of two separate pieces. Somebody here recommended that I use this JB Weld kit, so I decided to use it. Now it's a two-part. You have to mix the parts, make sure you read the directions, and then you apply it to the surface. I knew where I wanted it to go, and then what I did was I put something heavy over top of that and I let it dry overnight. And in the meantime, I just kind of polished up these other pieces just so I could see how pretty and shiny they were. You've probably noticed that I'm in a bit of a metal phase on this video. I'm making all sorts of things look like metal, including this wood frame. Here's a great way to make a vintage frame. First of all, paint it black and then apply this gilding wax over top. And the look that it gives is so pretty. Now, don't completely cover the black paint with the gilding wax. Leave some of it poking through so that it has this beautiful aged look to it. This is a fun process, and this gilding wax, you get a lot of bang for your buck. For the price of that little tub is only about $15, and it goes a long way. This next project I'm so excited about. Those glass wall sconces were unbelievable. I got them two for about $7 each, so they were $14. I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. But before I do that, let's continue on with making old looking frames. So I have these two frames. One was already gold, one was wood. I painted them both in black. And then I can't wait to show you what I do with these next. Before I go on to that next step, let's clean these gorgeous wall sconces. So I went back to my steel wool. This is 4/0 steel wool, and I'm using it to polish that glass. And this glass is really thick, really beautiful. It's got this look to it that is old. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not perfectly clear glass. It has, well, you'll see as we go along. First of all, I took the 4/0 steel wool and I went over every area that the steel wool would reach into. Then I grabbed this brass brush that looks like a toothbrush. It's literally about that size. These are really handy to have in the workshop. I'll link some along with the steel wool down below in the description. But the bristles on this brush get into the little knobs on that design there of the glass. You've probably seen a similar design on milk glass. You see a lot of these, I think it's called hobnob. I'm not sure if you know the name of that, where it's kind of got those little raised areas, those little raised knobby areas. Let me know the name of it. But between the steel wool and that brass brush, I got into all the nooks and crannies and cleaned that glass so well. You can see the difference here. On the left, it's clean. On the right, it's not. But they both have this beautiful vintage age to the glass. It is just so pretty. Whenever you do a lamp makeover of any sort, you've got to clean the cords. They are so disgusting. I don't know why. All you have to do is take a microfiber cloth and run over that cord over and over and over and over again, and you see all of the gunk that comes off, and it just looks so much better. Now I'm going to use some of the gilding waxes on the base, well, on the metal part of the fixtures. I started out with the color zinc because I thought it would look best with the glass. And as I was moving along, I remember thinking right here at this point, this is not exactly what I want it to look like, but I'm going to keep going and we'll just see. And I just wasn't convinced. You can start to see the color in that glass right now. Alongside the silver, it just doesn't look right. And I think it's because the glass has this beautiful vintage yellow cast to it that to me, the zinc did not look right with it at all. So hang on, I'm going to show you what I do with this metal instead of the zinc color. All right, you know it. I went back to the gold. And I think that once that gold gets on there, it's going to help that yellow tone that this old glass has. Look at that already. It looks so much better. You let me know down below, which do you like better, that gold or the zinc? I definitely like the gold better. I feel like it picks up the yellow, beautiful yellow tones in that old glass perfectly. You let me know what you think down in the comments. It's easy to apply this gilding wax. I just use a little artist brush and go over the whole surface. You see me kind of going back and forth, and it just puts a pretty little glaze on there. I didn't even buff it. You really don't have to do anything. You just let it sit, and that's it. And while that gold gilding wax is out, yep, you guessed it, I'm putting it on one of those oval frames. I'm going to put it on both. Now, I did wind up buffing it a little bit just to give it a little bit of a sheen and take off any excess. The next step was I put one of these hangers on here. Oh, I can't wait to show you this idea. It's going to look so good. I'm trying to get our spare bedrooms kind of up to par. It's a long story, but we're missing furniture in some of our rooms, and one of these days I'll sit back and tell you about it. But anyway, this room needed some help, so those lamps don't go. You can see it already. They just are not going with the vibe that I have here. I have this old window. I made this window probably 30 years ago. Those are individual quilt frames that I made to size for each one of those window panes. The paint on this old window is original. All I did was seal it so it wouldn't continue to chip. And they made the panes made perfect little frames for these little quilt squares that I made, like I said, probably 30 years ago. Maybe one day I'll do a tutorial on how to do that. So back to these two wall sconces. I think that the wall sconce is going to do much better than a lamp. I don't really have room for nightstands in this bedroom. So I measured on both sides of the wall of where I wanted to hang the sconces. Then I grabbed this quick flip tool that I use all of the time. I'm going to link it. This is a handy tool. On one end, it's a screw bit that you see there. You flip it around and you have a drill bit that also is a countersink. So really quickly, you can go from pre-drilling a hole to flipping it around and putting the screw in, and it's no muss, no fuss. This is the most used tool in my workshop other than my shop vac. So to hang these glass wall sconces, I'm going to use a molly. And the first step is to use that countersink drill bit and pre-drill the hole into the drywall. These countersink drill bits are nice because it'll sink that screw into the wall a little bit farther. And you'll have to grab a shop vac or something to clean up because it does leave some dust down on the floor. Then I take this part here, that white part there on the right, and that goes in first. That's the anchor that's going to hold the screw. And it also has a like a little screw end on it, so I can flip my quick flip drive around and put that anchor right into the wall, and then I add the screw, and I left it out just a little bit. You can see that the sconce has a little hanger, and it also has an area in the glass recessed so that cord can go right into the recess, and it just hangs on the wall. And then look what I'm doing with these frames. I'm going to use the frame around the wall sconce. Now, the light bulb is not in it yet, so I'm bearing in mind that the wall sconce will have a little bit of height because of the light bulb. That's why I'm offsetting the oval frames around these light fixtures. And by the way, I'm going to change those light bulbs. I'm not a fan of them. Do you like the shade on that light? Do you think I should put the shade on? Do you think I should just use an Edison bulb? Let me know down in the comments. I want to know your opinion. Okay, back to the silver. Now this piece, what had worn through, the silver plate had worn off. So I grabbed some of the silver gilding wax, dabbed it on, and then just used a paper towel and dabbed a little bit more. It's not perfect, but it helps to conceal it a little bit. Then I took this beautiful low shaped bowl and a piece of chicken wire, and I formed it to go around that silver bowl. And I'm going to use this as a flower arrangement. So anytime I want, I could take this chicken wire off, but for the time being, I'm going to use it as a fresh flower arrangement. I cut the chicken wire to fit, and then I just bent the wire around there very easily. This is nothing fancy, and it's nothing permanent. This is just another way to make a flower arrangement. And the thing that I like about this low bowl is just that. It'll be a low arrangement on a dining table so that you can see your guests across the table and you don't have this big tall flower arrangement smack in the middle. This is what I'm doing with it now. Who knows? I'll change it, I'm sure, as the fall and Christmas season come around. But for now, look at those fun colors next to that beautiful silver. Oh, I just love zinnias. Do you have a zinnia garden? Let me know. I have a beautiful little zinnia garden for picking, and I also have lots of hostas on our property, and I use those as the main base. And I think those flowers might have been sedum. I can't remember what those flowers are called right offhand, the little ones that I'm tucking in there. But anyway, they were a nice little filler, and this was just a really pretty flower arrangement for our dining room. Stay tuned to the end, and I will show you what it looks like in our dining room. Back to the Norman Rockwell frame, all I did was reassemble everything. Now I did make sure that my fingertips did not touch the inside of the glass because once it's there, it's there. And I just reassembled everything with the new painted mat, and I used all the original parts. I did add extra tape, obviously, to hold that print in there. I used the same cardboard, the same nails, everything. So this was a really inexpensive project. I think the print itself cost me about $7. So this was a really great way to get a piece of art. You could do this with any kind of art. In fact, I have plans of looking for some landscape art at thrift stores. I want to start making a little collection, and I'll be doing the same technique as I did with this one. Before we move on to that pretty little silver and zinnia flower arrangement there, look at those candlesticks. They turned out so good. I put them in with my other collection. I may or may not polish some of those others, but I have a lot of these brass candlesticks, and I love adding to them, especially for $3. Here's this pretty zinnia arrangement in the silver bowl and that little plate and bowl combination that we made. It's so pretty. By the way, that lace tablecloth is probably 60 years old. It was my mom's. She used it for all of her special occasions, and I still love to use it in a different kind of way. You see here, I just have it sprayed out and kind of bunched up to just create different textures and layers. I think it's beautiful alongside the bright zinnias and the green of those hosta leaves. This is just such a pretty arrangement. And those zinnias and hosta leaves, it lasted a good 10 days. It was a long lasting arrangement. And I have a cutting garden. I can go out and refill it and, redo it anytime I need to. It's so much fun to be able to do that. I think that this dish would also be really pretty with hydrangeas. Those blooms are really big and beautiful. You can cut the stems short and put them in a low dish like this. It would be so pretty. This dish would also be really pretty with some gorgeous faux flowers from Hobby Lobby. The Hobby Lobby flowers are amazing. They're so pretty. You could use this year round. I plan on using it for the fall and for the Christmas season. I love the height that it's just not too tall. It's just the perfect height. I love the silver next to the old lace and all that brass. I love mixing different metals together like that. This is just such a pretty arrangement and a pretty dish. I hope you enjoyed that project. This little area is just at the end of our kitchen island, and it's just adjacent to where we sit down and have our evening meal. So we get to see this print. For now, this is where it's going to stay. Knowing me, it will change and it will be moved to another area. I like change. And look at those wall sconces. Aren't they gorgeous? And frankly, I even like the cords hanging down from the wall. I know that's crazy, but that's such a thing that would have been done back in the day. In the 30s and 40s, you wouldn't have those cords all covered up with cord covers and all of that. So I even like the look of that. I love the frames around them. I feel like it basically frames them out. I love it. I can't decide about a lampshade. So do you think I should put a lampshade on these? Maybe find one that is smaller. I could be on the lookout and maybe test that out. Or do you like just that light bulb? Definitely not that light bulb. Probably an Edison bulb would look better. So I need to change that out. You see that little flower arrangement there, by the way. I did make a video about how to make over a little flower pot from the thrift store. Super easy to do. I'll link that video in case you're interested in watching it. But it fits perfectly with this look in our guest room. You turn the light out and it's just the cutest thing. I love that. I'm sitting here looking at it now as I do this voiceover, and I do think I should change those light bulbs. I think a pretty shape of an Edison bulb. You let me know. Also, let me know, what do you think of the gold that I went with on the metal part of that wall sconce? I'm really glad I did that. I think the silver would not have, or that zinc color would not have worked out so well. I think the gold is perfect. I'd love to know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your favorite project. I really do appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. And hey, I have some fun bloopers at the end, so keep watching. See you next time. Hair? Yeah. That's it. Like, what in the world? What is this thing? What is that thing right there? Today we're going to take several things, and what are we going to do today? What are we doing today? I never really know what I'm going to say till I get here. What am I going to say? And it just has to kind of come to me. I can't do too much planning because then it sounds a little bit fake or something. I don't know what that is. Let's try that one more time. You can't really see what that is. It's happening, it's happening. Today we're going to take some, I don't like starting off with today because I think I say that every time and I'm not really crazy about that. Hey friend, let's take these items that I found at the thrift store recently and make them over. My mouth is something weird. Let's do that again. I have a thing under my armpit. No easy way to do this. This is an awkward part. Hey friend, let's take these things that I found out while I was out thrifting. Honestly, an awkward thing to do. Oh my gosh, and I can't even see it.